Without question, Logic's most powerful Dynamics processor is the compressor, which I personally think is a match for many of the third-party compressors out there available. I'm going to show you within this tip how I've used it on 4 separate instruments, starting with this beat loop, which has come from Stylus RMX, as you can see down here. First of all, let's hear it without any compression. Now this loop doesn't need a lot of compression, but I am just going to give it a little bit. So if we open up the compressor, you can see that I've gone for the platinum circuit type up here at the top, which used to be the only option. Now there are several. I've gone for a relatively quick attack and a quick release too. A relatively low ratio, just sort of 3 or so to 1. And I've added a little bit of gain, having pinched a little bit off using the threshold. Let's have a listen. Okay, that's pretty subtle. In case you sort of can't hear the difference, let's just A-B it with the bypass button. So you can just hear there's a little bit more presence in the sound. Those sounds have just sort of glued themselves together a little bit more with a very subtle use of compression. The next sound is much less subtle. I've added an extra kick drum part using Ultrabeat, and I want to use compression to give the sound more length and more presence in its second half. Let's just hear it without any compression first of all. Okay, so you can hear that it's got this kind of 808 quality. So let's just open up the compressor and have a look at how this sound has been modified using compression. First of all, you can see that I'm using the Opto circuit type, which is one of the other options new to Logic 8. You can see that I've also added a slowish attack time so that the beginning of the sound isn't compressed at all, and the compressor only goes to work on the sort of back end of the sound. I've got a nice high ratio here too. Okay, so that's now enormous, and that's partly because I'm adding loads of gain, 9 decibels, at the same time as setting a limiter threshold so that the sound can't actually peak. I can switch in or out that limiter. Let's just A-B the difference when it's in and when it's out. You can hear that difference. Let's try it with the loop. Okay, so this kind of enormous, almost peaking bass drum there is just being kept in check. The electric piano comes next. Again, let's hear that without any compression first of all. Now I'm using Native Instruments' electric piano here with a bit of inbuilt bit crushing, and what I want to do is to sweeten and warm up this sound. So I'm using the VCA circuit type, which has got this very smooth knee in the middle here. I'm using a ratio of about 5 to 1, quick attack and a slowish release, so that we're hopefully going to sort of glue the various elements of this sound together and make it a little bit warmer. Let's see if that's working. So, sure enough, even though we've still got that bite, that bit crushy sound, there's a little bit more warmth in it. So that's working quite nicely, but if anything, the piano's a little bit loud, so I'm just going to adjust the gain down a dB or so, just to get that to fit in a little bit better. And now I'm going to turn my attention to the bass line. This is also using a platinum circuit type. We've got a ratio of about 4 to 1 and a quickish attack in here so that the sound immediately compresses. You can see I've set the threshold here at minus 14 dB. And again, not really adding any gain. This is just to keep volumes under control really more than anything else. Let's listen to the whole track now. Okay, so that bass line may be a little over bold, but you get the general idea. So we've filled up the bass end nicely. So this is Logic's compressor. Remember, you've got various circuit types, tack and release, with an auto option if you want Logic to set the release for you. You've got ratio, the knee control, an opportunity to set auto gain if you want to, and of course the new built-in limiter. So all in all, quite a vast feature set really, capable of covering most compression needs.